An immensely rich man dies alone in a palace too big for him. His last breath gives up a single word: Rosebud. For half a century, the film that opens on that word was called the greatest ever made. But the real mystery isn't on the screen, it's behind the camera. How does a 25-year-old who had never directed a film change cinema forever? To understand Citizen Kane, you have to understand its author. Orson Welles was no beginner from nowhere. At 16, he talked his way onto the stage of Dublin's Gate Theatre by claiming to be a Broadway star. At 20, he staged a Macbeth with an all-black cast in Harlem. At 22, a Julius Caesar in fascist uniforms made him the toast of Broadway. And in 1938, on the radio, his fake news bulletins of a Martian invasion sent America into real panic. Overnight, he was the most talked-about man in the country. So, Hollywood called, and RKO offered a contract no newcomer had ever been given: total control. His story, his cast, his crew, and final cut, not a single frame could be changed without his say-so. Walking onto the lot, Welles supposedly called it the greatest electric train set a boy ever had. There was just one problem. The boy didn't yet know how to make a movie. So he learned. He watched John Ford's Stagecoach some 40 times. He studied the shadows of German expressionist cinema. He learned his craft like a man planning a heist. Then the master came to him. Greg Toland, the finest cinematographer in Hollywood, fresh off an Oscar, offered his services. Because Welles's inexperience was a promise. The promise of trying everything no one else dared. Around them gathered a constellation of future legends. But RKO didn't trust their prodigy. They sent spies to the set. So Welles played a trick of his own. He disguised the first weeks of real filming as mere camera tests, so that by the time the studio realized shooting had truly begun, there was too much footage to scrap. And when executives showed up unannounced, the entire cast and crew would drop everything and start playing softball, until the suits grew bored and left. Hidden in plain sight, this secret production was about to reinvent nearly every craft in filmmaking.